Good day, everyone. Today we are going to discuss one of many aircraft instruments people tend to forget to check. Can you guess what it is? I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. Char, 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 char. It's the turn coordinator. Yeet!
Oh my god! Wow!
So guys, before we head on to the rest of the video, let me give you a brief introduction about the turn coordinator. So, what is a turn coordinator? So, what are turn coordinators? They are simply the instrument that displays the rate of turn and roll information to the pilot. And also, the turn coordinators are developed from the turn and bank indicator. So, if you see the model of the turn indicator, there's a tiny ball below that miniature aircraft. This ball measures the relative strength of the force of gravity and the force of inertia caused by a turn. The two lines that you see above the L and R letters, they indicate the standard rate turn. For context towards the video, banking in aviation means changing the direction where the aircraft is headed. So now we're done with the intro. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Bye, have a great time.
Precession is the tilting or turning of a gyro in response to a force. For instance, a small force applied to the gyro whenever the airplane changes direction. However, instead of the gyro responding at the source of the force as expected, the result will instead occur so that 90 degrees ahead of that point in the direction of rotation. The turn coordinator is the supporting instrument used while banking. It is used both to indicate the rates and quality of the turn. It can also be used as a backup source of bank information in the event when the attitude indicator fails. In the center of the face of the instrument lies a miniature airplane that indicates the rate of turn. The aircraft is currently in two tick marks to indicate level. The other two tick marks indicate what is called a standard rate turn. A standard rate turn refers to the one that takes 2 minutes to complete a 360-degree full circle. This is the rate that all pilots fly when instrument meteorological conditions, meaning they have no outside references to follow. Below the miniature aircraft is an inclinometer, which incorporates a ball inside a tube filled with kerosene. The ball can freely move left and right and will travel in whatever direction aerodynamic forces push and pull it. Ideally, the ball should always be centered, which means the aircraft is coordinated. If aerodynamic forces are unbalanced, the ball will slide left to right. This happens when there is either too much or too little rudder being used with the current amount of bank. These two conditions are referred to as a slip and a skid. In a slip, there is not a great enough rate of turn for the amount of bank. It needs to add more rudder and/or reduce the bank. While in a skid, there is too much of a rate of turn for the amount of bank, wherein the pilot needs to add more bank and/or reduce the amount of rudder. The easiest way to remember how to fix these situations is just to step on the ball. This means that when the ball is deflected off center, step on the respective rudder pedal that the ball is deflected toward. A ball deflected left means step on the left rudder. Conversely, a ball deflected right means step on the right rudder. To get this instrument to function, it is typically powered by electricity. For this instrument, the gyro rotates from a motor located in its center. The gyro is mounted so it can remain upright while in a turn mechanical linkages that connect the gyro to the miniature airplane on the front of the instrument. A spring is installed to help return them in the airplane back to level. Because of this, the pilot would never know if the instrument has failed. So if the instrument is not receiving electrical power, a red flag will be visible on the face of the instruments. Another important aspect to notice on the inside of the instrument is that the gimbal holding the gyro is not level. In fact, it's actually rotated 30 degrees. Unlike the turn and slip indicator, this change allows the instruments to also measure the rate of roll as you enter the turn. And that is how the turn coordinator operates.
Next, we're going to talk about the problems that can be encountered in a turn coordinator. So we have 5 common errors in turns or in a turn coordinator, which are pitch, bank, power, trim, and lastly, we have errors during compass turns. So we're going to talk about the common errors, and under it are faults on why we experience such errors in a turn coordinator. First, pitch. Failure to understand or remember the need for changing the pitch attitude as the vertical lift component changes, resulting in consistent loss of altitude during entries. Next, we have changing the pitch attitude before it is necessary. This fault is very likely if a cross-check is slow and rate of entry is too rapid. The error occurs during the turn entry due to a mechanical or premature application of back elevator control pressure. Next, over-controlling the pitch changes. This fault commonly occurs with the previous error. So basically, over-controlling occurs in the previous error. Failure to properly adjust the pitch attitude as the vertical lift component increases during the rollout, resulting in consistent gain in altitude on recovery to headings. Next, we're going to talk about banks and its corresponding faults. First fault, failure to use the proper degree of bank for the amount of heading change desired. Rolling into a 20-degree bank for a heading change of 10 degree will normally overshoot the heading. Use the bank attitude appropriate to the amount of heading change desired. Next, failure to remember the heading to which the aircraft is being turned. This fault is likely when rushing the maneuver. Failure to check the ball of the turn coordinator when interpreting the instrument for bank information. If the roll rate is reduced to 0, the miniature aircraft of the turn coordinator indicates only direction and rate of turn. Unless the ball is centered, do not assume the turn is resulting from a bank attitude. Next, we have power and its corresponding faults. First fault, failure to cross-check the ASI as pitch changes are made. Erratic cues of power control. This may be due to improper throttle friction control, inaccurate throttle settings, chasing the airspeed readings, abrupt or over-controlled pitch and bank changes, or failure to recheck the airspeed to note the effect of power adjustment. Next, poor coordination of throttle control, which pitch and bank changes associated with a slow cross-check or failure to understand the aerodynamic factors related to turns. We have trim. Failure to recognize the need for a trim change due to slow cross-check and interpretation. For example, a turn entry at a rate too rapid for a cross-check leads to confusion in cross-check and interpretation with resulting tension on the controls. Second fault, failure to understand the relationship between trim and attitude power changes. Third fault, chasing the vertical speed needle. Over-controlling leads to tension and prevents sensing the pressures to be trimmed up. And last error, is the errors during compass turns. So, first fault, faulty understanding or computation of lead and lag. And lastly, fixation on the compass during the rollout. Until the airplane is in straight and level and accelerated flight, it is unnecessary to read the indicated heading. Accordingly, after the rollout, cross-check for straight and level flight before checking the accuracy of the turn. Then we're going to talk about the broken turn coordinator. So, what happens if you have a broken turn coordinator? Turn coordinators work by using a gyro, and those can be operated by a vacuum pump or they can be electrical. In either event, if the gyro were to fail on the instrument, you would just lose the bank indicator. The ball would continue to work regardless because it is only affected by centrifugal force created by yawing of the aircraft.